Anyway, once all is in order, the buyer can then proceed with the exercising of the property. And this usually entails them going down to the lawyer's office to hand over a 4% cashier order. And this is also where the private resale processes branches off from the HDB process. In HDB, the buyer pays the buyer's stamp duty within 2 weeks of endorsement, which could be 2 to 3 months from the date of the option, giving HDB or lawyers enough time to get CPF to approve the usage of funds for stamp duties. However, for private resale properties, you will have to pay your buyer's stamp duty within 2 weeks of exercising, which could come as quickly as 2 to 4 weeks comparatively. Lawyers wouldn't have enough time to get CPF to approve the usage of funds, which means that the upfront cash required for a private property would be the 5% cash down payment and also another 4 to 6% of buyer's stamp duties within 2 to 4 weeks from the date of option. And this is important for later when we start to merge the timelines. Completion will then be 10 weeks from exercising, or 8 weeks or 12 weeks. It's up to the buyer and seller. But take note that 8 weeks is very rushed for the banks and lawyers, and they would usually recommend 10 weeks at least instead. And completion is when the buyer pays the remaining of the down payment and when the mortgage or bank loan kicks in. In a private resale situation, if the seller needs extension past the completion dates, it can be discussed with the buyers, either a rent-free period and factored into the price, or paid through a monthly rental fee. And also, just to touch a little bit on why is there this long duration before completion. As you can see, in HDB or private properties, there is always a 8 to 10 weeks gap before you get your keys. To my knowledge, and asking the lawyers years ago, they explained to me that this was a time to write into CPF to request the usage of the funds for completion, and also for the loan processing by the banks, which requires approval before disbursement. On top of the usual conveyance work like transferring of the title deeds, hence the usual 10 weeks of completion timeline.